Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino calling line at 405-329-9000. Text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
All right, let's just get right to it. Don't waste anybody's time. Straight to the big story. Story number one and what everyone out there cares about. Bill Bedenbaugh is the front runner for KREF Recruiter of the Month for the month of December, huh? Isn't that what everyone cares about the most, Parker Thune? Got him a transfer portal player, a recruit, a commit in the 26 class. I mean, let's go.
I thought you were going to start with the fact that the only guy keeping Muleshoe relevant at USC just announced he's hitting the transfer portal.
Branch in the transfer portal?
Uh-huh.
Yikes. No, it's not that. It's Bill Bedenbaugh out in front, the leader in the clubhouse to be KREF Recruiter of the Month for the month of December.
I can dig it, baby.
Doing damage out there. Getting him an offensive lineman from the West Coast with a couple of years experience, and then Will Conroy, who seems, without watching the tape and just looking at the rating and the offer list that he has, I'm like, this 3-star seems a little underrated here.
He's a nice football player.
Yeah.
He's a nice football player. Good get from the state of Ohio for Coach B as he gets on the board in the 2026 cycle. And, of course, I don't know how much we even talked about it yesterday, but Luke Piklenko on the board for Oklahoma as their first offensive portal addition of this winter as well. And we're expecting, of course, that there are going to be more offensive portal additions here before long. But Luke Piklenko is first through the wall. And that's a guy, I think, for whom Bedenbaugh's developmental chops are going to be on full display over the next couple of years, because you don't have to turn Luke Piklenko into a serviceable player. He already is a serviceable player. He's got 14 career starts at Stanford, broke into the lineup as a true freshman. But can you make Luke Piklenko into a good or even a great offensive tackle? That's the challenge that exists for Bill Bedenbaugh with a guy that already has some pretty solid makeup. And then Will Conroy, just a good, solid foundational piece in your 2026 class. Interior mauler with a great offer sheet. He woke up and decided, you know what, all this portal craziness has made me decide I better just go ahead and lock in with the school I'm most comfortable at. And for him, that was Oklahoma.
So do you want the Bill Bedenbaugh edit on the KREF account to have a Santa hat on Bill Bedenbaugh, or would you want a Happy New Year hat, maybe some sunglasses or something like that? What garb? What do you think you want him to celebrate? Santa hat?
I could rock with a Santa hat.
Yeah. We'll have
throw a Santa hat on Bill.
We'll have a Santa hat there on Bill Bedenbaugh after he wins KREF Recruiter of the Month. It's about John Mateer. I know. Mateer, the number one player in the portal. According to several services now already, ESPN1, 24/7 Sports 1, heck, maybe on Rivals at this point, he's the number one overall player in the portal. I know some were, their confidence was a little shaken this morning with the On3 report that Miami has emerged as a serious candidate. And look, of course Miami was always going to try here. They got the last quarterback out of Washington State that was really good. Miami's got a lot of money. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily shocking that reportedly Miami is going to at least shoot their shot here and throw a lot of money John Mateer's way. But the same individual who put out that report did predict OU to land John Mateer yesterday.
That is
correct. I heard a good one. I had it. It's the first thing I thought of when I saw this report today. I'm like, I'm gonna store that away and use it on the show today. Someone else beat me to the punch with you and Steely today. It was very reminiscent of the whole Caleb Williams, Wisconsin saga that was very, very short-lived. But we had viewed and we talked about Miami being the biggest threat to OU, but it still feels right now that OU is the big-time leader in the John Mateer sweepstakes, and it sounds like they have an opportunity today to close this bad boy out. We'll see if they're a staff full of closers here and an NIL full of closers here, because John Mateer, if he going to be here today. See if he can close.
Does Ben Arbuckle overtake Bill Bedenbaugh in the KREF Recruiter of the Month race if and when the John Mateer signing is finalized?
Ben Mateer in a Santa hat is, or Ben Mateer. Ben Arbuckle in a Santa hat is what you want to see? Yeah.
I would rather see, because Ben Arbuckle is really tall. Ben Arbuckle is 6'4". I would love to see Ben Arbuckle as Buddy the Elf. That feels more appropriate.
Tattoo Baker, do your thing. I say I was going to do the edit. Normally, Tattoo Baker just works on it, and I either retweet it or he sends it my way. But no, John Mateer's in the portal, expected to be in Norman today. And, you know, I wanted to kind of go back to this because according to the On3 report, Miami has apparently really been selling him on, hey, we're going to give you the same developments as Cam Ward got, another former Washington State quarterback, got this season. Miami, of course, won't back down if it comes to a dollar amount. Like, Miami's most attractive offer is going to be in their NIL offer, but they're saying, hey, you can get the same QB development here that Cam Ward got. And that's fine. I mean, maybe that's a strong pitch. But I still got to believe that OU has the strongest pitch out of anyone out there because the NIL offer is strong. Trust me on that one. And when you have Ben Arbuckle and your quarterback coach from last year to pitch as well, OU, if John Mateer really is the best player in the portal, and a lot of services think that he is, OU put themselves in the best situation possible to land John Mateer. They did with a couple of the hires that they made.
And I would be surprised if John Mateer isn't officially on board within 24, 36 hours. And we're not far off here. And you don't have to overthink it with the Miami stuff and all that buzz. I don't even know how much buzz there actually is. I know there's the one reporter that put out the tweet, Miami's a contender. No, they're not. John Mateer is going to be in Oklahoma Sooner.
Yeah, I would expect that as well. What do you think OU's biggest I probably just said it there, but what was OU's biggest selling point with John Mateer? That, hey, the guys that you were with last year, the familiarity that you're going to have immediately, which most quarterbacks don't have coming out of the transfer portal, we're going to give you a lot of money, and we're going to give you a lot of familiarity. Maybe there are some other things. I got to think those were the main selling points from OU.
Yeah, the money is obviously what's going to carry a lot of weight with any transfer these days, right? Anybody that's in the portal, they want to get paid. Everybody wants to get paid, Tyler. I mean, that's just baseline. Like, there's a lot of things you can do with money. A lot of things you can do. And depending on what kind of person you are, what you want to do with that money, like if you or I had somewhere between $2 and $3 million sitting in our bank accounts.
Oh, you don't? I've been collecting all the super chat money here on YouTube, so I'm getting close to that. I'll get you your cut at the end of the month.
Okay. Regardless, money matters. Money matters to any human being. Certainly matters to a high-profile transfer like John Mateer, who's going in the portal to enhance his earning potential as well as to enhance his visibility on the national scene. Because one of the things that we talked about earlier in the week, Tyler, is with what John Mateer did statistically this past year at Washington State, if he's not playing somewhere like Washington State, maybe he's in New York for the Heisman ceremony.
Yeah.
Led the FBS in total touchdowns. He had 44, 29 passing, 15 rushing. And so it's about visibility. It's about familiarity. It's certainly about the money. And Oklahoma is the perfect combination of all three of those factors for a guy like John Mateer.
Tattooed Baker says, was getting the mail, what edits? We're going to need you, Tattoo Baker, to put a Santa hat on Bill Bedenbaugh and then basically a Buddy the Elf costume on Ben Arbuckle. And we'll let you know which one that we need by the end of the month, depending on what happens. 3-star Lost City Sooner says, money can't buy happiness, but it can buy you a boat. Pretty good song there, Lost City Sooner. I like that one. And then a lot of Zachariah Branch text on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line right now. John Mateer has been the hot topic for a while now and still is. But Zachariah Branch, that news that he's entering into the transfer portal, we got a lot of people saying, hey,
yeah, well,
go shoot. Go, come on, let's go. Come on, big money kid. Any shot? What's going on? Let's go get this kid. He's a playmaker.
I mean, I've seen Zachariah Branch in person, watched him play on numerous occasions in person. That kid is bonkers good, Tyler.
Yeah, he's really – I mean, he's good as a freshman.
He is the most slippery, the most elusive ball carrier I have ever seen. Absolutely dynamic with the football in his hands. As a returner, as a receiver, as a rusher, he is nuts. There's a reason a kid who's 5'9", 5'8", 5'9".
He was taking punts back last year as a freshman for USC, right?
Yeah, he was.
Had some big returns too, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's stupid good. And that feels too good to be true. Could Oklahoma be involved? Sure, absolutely. They were one of his finalists out of high school, but That feels a little too good to be true, Tyler, that
Yeah.
Oklahoma could wind up with Zachariah
That kid's going to
Branch.
make a lot of money somewhere. You know what's going to happen? Most likely it's going to be some SEC school, and OU's going to have to go up against that guy next year, the way things are turning out so far in the portal. Jeez. Feels like most players that you think are good or that you like in the portal, if you're not getting that player, they're off to LSU or somewhere else in the SEC. It's like, geez, this league, man. Mateer wanted a bigger stage, says Past My Prime. SEC is a sell, and I think that there's absolutely a lot of truth to that. John from Bartlesville, is Miami bidding the moon just to bleed OU dry? I mean, I think OU's offer and their situation that they're pitching to John Mateer is good enough, and it will be good enough. I don't think OU's going to need to offer $6 million to John Mateer to come play football. I think they got a very healthy offer on the table, and all the familiarity in the offense and all that. I think they're confident with where they sit. Branch from USC just entered the portal. Go get him. There's our game breaker, says John and Blanchard. Micah from Kanawha, Branch brothers leaving USC. What's OU's chances? See, all these texts right now are about Zachariah Branch. That's a killer for Muleshoe, though, man. And two, you have Miller Moss that entered into the transfer portal, and clearly they made the switch at quarterback. But I was thinking about this last week. There's a rumor out there that a Big Ten school has offered Quinn Ewers a lot of money to play quarterback next year. I don't know if that's true or not. But does it seem like USC is really, really quiet? Strangely, oddly, very quiet in the transfer portal thus far when it comes to a quarterback? I would
Are you
think
suggesting they're broke?
I'm not suggesting that they're broke. I'm just saying,
Why
like,
not?
what's going on here? What's up? They're not seemingly out there in a player for any of these quarterbacks that are out there. Is Muleshoe going to go try to get Quinn Ewers, try to get him to play quarterback there next year? What's going on there?
Listen, I will tell you this much, and I'm not going to say the name because, gosh, it would be everywhere. I know for a fact Muleshoe has been actively back-channeling to try and get a very talented college quarterback that currently plays at another institution into the transfer portal. That's been his plan, as I understand it. Short of that, I guess you're going back to Jaden Mayava next year?
And I don't think that's what I'm like. He's a nice player and all, but I think with as critical of a year as they have next year, I think that they would go out and try and find someone a lot more proven via the transfer portal. But maybe not. Maybe not. Chris from Knoxville says after the last several years, until he's signed and there's an official university edit and video showing proof, I'll stay on edge. It's hard to blame anyone who thinks that way. I mean, we can say kind of, as many times as we want where we feel or where we think, where we've heard the situation is currently at. But it's a fair point by Chris. I mean, in today's day and age, you think something's a done deal, anything can happen at the last minute. Anything can happen at the last minute. But still, with that being said, I expect John Mateer to be a Sooner man.
There's no reason that this should fall through at this point. No reason whatsoever.
I would not mind if he brought one of his pals along, that offensive tackle that entered in the portal yesterday, who had, day 2 NFL grades with him.
Fa'alili Fa'amoe.
Yeah, that'd be all right if that was a package deal between those two guys. I know OU just got another offensive tackle in the portal yesterday, but Wazoo's got some players on the offensive side. The running back's really good. He was just a freshman this year, a wide receiver or two. Like, that was an offense that was not void of talent this year. Yeah. They've got some players.
And look, theoretically, Oklahoma could afford Fa'alili Fa'amoe, but Tyler, that would be the equivalent of you or I going to sign a purchase agreement for a Range Rover, brand new off the lot. Could we do it? Sure. We could scrape together enough money to make that happen. Would it be wise?
Yes.
No, definitely not.
I thought it was going to be wise. Sounded like fun.
It sounds like fun, of course. Yes. Sounds like, shoot. Yeah, all in. But with the money that Oklahoma has to allocate elsewhere at other positions, it just is it is not the most prudent maneuver to go and throw a big bag at Fa'alili Fa'amoe.
You should be all in on Zachariah Branch if Brent's job is really on the line, says a 405 texter. No excuses on this one. I'm sure OU, I don't know that. I'm sure OU would like to be in on Zachariah Branch. That one's going to cost quite a bit of money, though. Not saying that OU doesn't have it or they couldn't pursue a guy like Zachariah Branch, but there are going to be a lot of schools out there willing to pay a lot of money for that kid.
832 Mike says, please tell me why Mateer is not committed yet. If he was actually coming to OU, why would he not just put it out there? This waiting game just feels like a bad thing for OU. I hear you, 832 Mike. I know this is not the type of thing that anybody wants to wait on. Like, you want conclusive word from John Mateer as soon as possible, and I get that. As best I understand it, he wants to get to campus, sign all the paperwork, and announce at that point. So, again, if this does not become public in the next 24 to 36 hours, I would be very, very surprised.
405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Text rolling in like crazy. We'll get to as many as we can today. Has OU been a winner or a loser in the transfer portal cycle thus far? There's one outlet that has an opinion on that. And a whole lot more. We'll talk more John Mateer. Get to your text. More OU football coming up next right here on The Ref. We're the home of Sooner fans. Orange Down Apple Pie Liquor is not your grandma's apple pie unless your grandma was a moonshiner with a PhD in flavor. This all-natural, 6-time distilled spirit is sure to light up any party, tailgate, or special occasion. Whether toasting a touchdown or yelling at the Yums because Spike was safe, Horns Down Apple Pie is the perfect drink for celebrating the highs and lows of life in Oklahoma. Horns Down celebrates all of you who cheer from the berm, tailgate, on Lindsay Street, and wreak havoc on social media. You can find our red bottle at your local liquor store or search for your closest location at drinkhornsdown.com.
And Riverwind is your best bet for good times and great rewards.
Upgrade your experience and book one of our all-new VIP suites.
Only inside the Showplace Theater in Riverwind Casino.
Don't miss our Candy Cane giveaway every Friday in December.
Play with your wild card to win your share of $80,000.
Wrap up your year with a win at Riverwind.
When the game is on the line, you need a team that you can count on. When injuries occur, you can count on the one team that knows sports medicine. Norman Regional's Ortho Central is your premier team of orthopedic specialists. With 5 highly trained orthopedic surgeons, 3 fellowship-trained sports medicine physicians, and locations in Norman, Newcastle, and Midwest City, we'll work hard to get you back in the game. Ortho Central, #1 in sports medicine and orthopedic care. Call 405-360-6764 and schedule an appointment today.
The holidays are approaching, and Balfour of Norman can help you make it a Crimson and Cream Christmas for everyone. Locally owned for more than 45 years, Balfour on Campus Corner has always been a favorite of Sooner fans. For holiday decorating, you will find Christmas ornaments, stockings, Christmas cards, and other decorations, including a 7-foot-tall inflatable Santa. Additionally, Balfour has something for every Sooner fan on your shopping list. Their friendly staff will help you find just the right thing for everyone. With sizes from newborn through adults, there is a great selection of shirts, polos, hoodies, shorts, pants, hats, and even socks. All from great brands like Jordan, Nike, Champion, Antigua, Hype and Vice, and many more. There is also a great selection of gift items like automotive accessories, golf gear, serving pieces, and decorative displays. You can even custom order OU cowboy boots or their newest item, an OU electric bike. So stop by the store on Campus Corner for all the latest and greatest in OU gear, or shop online at crimsonproud.com, where you will find everything Sooner.
The Sooners aren't the only team in Norman killing it in the transfer portal. Bob Stoops.
Some of the things that they do, it's just a little bit questionable, but like, seriously, you did that?
Dusty Dvorak.
The last thing that you want to have happen is find yourself falling behind.
Brian Bosworth.
You know, it's such a great call because they disguised the blitz.
The Ref continues to prove this is the home of Sooner fans. The Ref is SEC ready. Are you?
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Did you know that about 23% of Oklahoma's river and stream miles are impaired by bacteria? Pet waste can pollute surface and drinking waters like Lake Thunderbird by contributing harmful levels of bacteria. Be sure to pick up after your furry friend when you're out and about. We drink our stormwater, so please do your part to help protect it. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
Hey Sooners, I'm OU alum and Board Street Ventures founder James Spann. The Sooners season is underway, which means it's time for the Boyd Street Ventures Under the Radar Player of the Game. It's time for you to consider investing in BSV. Our portfolio has 16 innovative, under-the-radar, Oklahoma-connected companies. If you want in, the sooner the better, as our fund closes December 31st. Check out our portfolio at BoydStreetVentures.com. Boyd Street Ventures, under the radar, above the crowd.
Locked in with McComas and Thune, live on the ref. We're the home of Sooner fans. Tyler McComas, Parker Thune, Ref Army, listening worldwide via the free KREF app. Just search KREF in the App Store to listen to the ref wherever you're at on the go. Ref Army Locator is brought to you by Horns Down Apple Pie, located in 100 spots across the state of Oklahoma. Go check out drinkhornsdown.com. Columbia City, Indiana is tuned in today. Heston, Kansas, Littlefield, Texas, Downey, California, McConnellsville, Ohio, Forest City, Iowa, Redfield, South Dakota, Duncan, Oklahoma, all tuned in today via the free KREF app. And quickly, before we get back to the text line, 24 Sports has college football transfer portals winners and losers after the first week of the winter window here. Oklahoma was listed as a loser in the transfer portal during the first week. Oklahoma finds itself staring at a challenging season in 2025 as the transfer portal departures continue to stack up. The Sooners' offense lacked firepower this season with a series of injuries at receiver, and now most of those who were supposed to be at the top of the depth chart are on the move. Jackson Arnold left for Auburn. OU expects to be in the mix for John Mateer, who entered the portal Monday. Number one overall transfer prospect right now, but they still have a ways to go in restocking the roster. I would disagree with calling OU a portal loser up to this point. I wouldn't call them a portal winner up to this point. But, yeah, OU's lost a lot in terms of just overall players. But again, and I go back to this, how much of that was, hey, we got to cut a number down to a certain number here? That means, sorry, but you need to go play college football elsewhere. And also how much of it, Parker, was, I mean, we're willing to offer this guy this much to come back, but only this much because of their injury history, their lack of production. What I'm saying is I don't think that there are very many players that OU is necessarily really, really bummed to see out the door. That's why I don't call them a transfer portal loser.
Sure, I get that. And as a 918 listener just said, if you're not first, you're last. Angry Ronnie says, as Joe Burrow said, it's effing embarrassing.
He did say that.
I did see that. Jeremy from Memphis says Oklahoma was only mentioned because they generate traffic. I mean, look, if everybody falls into the category of either winner or loser, if there is no gray area, then yeah, in the most technical sense of the word, Oklahoma is a loser thus far. That's true.
But not every team was mentioned. There were only 12 teams or so mentioned. Like, oh, you picked Oklahoma. That's interesting.
It's okay to say nobody is or this particular team is not a winner or a loser yet. And obviously, the big variable in the equation for Oklahoma, the thing that's been hanging in the balance for weeks now, is the potential addition of John Mateer. And if that happens, Tyler, I get the sense that Oklahoma's fortunes in the portal are going to change quickly, and that they suddenly will have a much easier time bringing in talent, especially offensive skill position talent.
I just think, look, the talent that I think that they're going to bring in, all right, I think it's going to be better and in a lot of cases more reliable than a lot of the talent that's leaving. And maybe some of those guys, like I think Nick Anderson could go to a school like LSU. Apparently LSU, as of yesterday, really feels good about the spot that they're in for Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson could go to LSU and have a fantastic year, but if you're looking at the entirety of what OU's lost up to this point, again, I just don't think that they're all that bummed about a lot of those pieces that left. So hopefully they will be a winner by the end of it. But to be a winner, if OU's going to be labeled a winner this transfer portal cycle, to me that has to include John Mateer in the class.
Has to. Absolutely has to.
Now, if you don't get John Mateer, if he goes to Miami or somewhere else, then I'll be willing to definitely sit down and have the conversation about Oklahoma being a portal loser up to this point.
OU Optimist.
That would suck.
Unsurprisingly, for someone named OU Optimist, said OU is a winner thus far.
Oh, all right, sweet.
Angry Ronnie says, can you all explain why we have to cut so many players? Seems it was fine last season, but now it's not. Well, you got to get the roster down to 105.
Correct.
It goes from 120 down to 105. So A lot of walk-ons have been and will continue to be casualties of that reality.
Will Smith on the YouTube live chat says, if I had $1 million, I'd give it to OU just to get Branch from USC just because. So we need to get Will Smith a get-rich-quick scheme, to hurry up. Just get him $1 million so he can just throw it at OU and say, hey, go get Zachariah Branch. Just go do that. Make it happen there.
Cherokee Sooner says LSU's medical staff would be an improvement for Nick
Yeah,
Anderson.
no kidding. No wonder why he wants to go there after seeing what happened with Garrett Nussmeier. Jeez.
Rust in Atlanta says, has anyone considered that Mateer might not have committed yet because he is stuck at the airport unable to figure out how to work a self-service kiosk? I mean, he does play football after all.
Jeez, Russ.
Is that a dumb jock text?
That's the way I took it. Sooner Smitty says, today is my birthday. A Mateer commit would be a nice present. Well, this will not be as good as a Mateer present, but happy birthday, Sooner Smitty. I hope that's at least some sort of consolation, getting a happy birthday shout-out on this show. 405, not just going to blindly commit without even seeing the place. Jeez, use your brains, people. Anxiety is a real problem these days, says a texter from the 405. Now, there have been players that have committed here before without ever stepping on campus. Heck, I guess Jet New technically did that in 25. But a lot of those players that did that were, class of 2020, class of 2021 kids during COVID. But, yeah, I'm sure he'd like to see campus before and make it official hopefully later today. Christy says Zachariah Branch is a package deal. I don't know if OU coaches like his brother who's a safety enough to be interested. Yeah, look, I mean, early on, might OU pursue – I wouldn't guess that OU is going to be in the top 3 for Zachariah Branch. That's my initial takeaway here with this.
You know who I would imagine will be heavily involved in that process?
Who's that?
Oregon.
Oh, yeah, that would make a lot of sense. That'd make a lot of sense. Jim in Arlington says, what do you say to John Mateer when he looks at your current wide receiver room? Just wondering. Well, your current wide receiver room right now is Deion Burks and Jaden Gibson amongst – I mean, that's a pretty good place to start. I think what you say to John Mateer is, hey, we think Burks is really good, and if he's available next year, he can put up some big-time numbers in this Ben Arbuckle offense. Jaden Gibson coming back this year. He won a ton of one-on-ones the last year he was healthy. And then with your help, man, we think that you can help get a lot of wide receiver talent for us in the transfer portal. That's what I think that you're telling him about wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, and a guy like that has to have – and we played this soundbite last hour, I believe, from Dusty talking about, Mateer's got a little bit of swagger to him.
Yep.
He's got that it factor. And when a guy has some swagger, his mentality on it is probably, hey, I'm going to commit to a place and the receivers are going to come play with me. They're going to want to come play with me. I'm the one that's going to lead, not the one that's going to follow.
$4.99 Super Chat, House Money Productions. 402 gang, Parker, says House Money Productions.
Come on.
If Mateer is driving up the process, ride with Hawk. Put $5 million around him and call it good.
And, I thought about this. I was thinking about this last week as Mateer was ruminating on whether or not to enter the portal. And the conclusion I came to was, would it be the worst thing if John Mateer didn't come to Oklahoma? Would it be the worst thing if he stayed at Washington State? It would suck for a lot of fans.
It would.
But
I wouldn't love that.
There is a lot of money committed to Oklahoma's pursuit of John Mateer, Tyler. A lot of money. If you could take that money and buy, let's say, 3 elite wide receivers in the transfer portal and give them to Michael Hawkins, and then you take the leftover money and you go get a really, really strong tight end, that's a supporting cast that I feel like you can have a lot of confidence in moving into next year.
Yeah, but why can't OU get John Mateer and some really good wide receivers and tight ends? Anyway,
No, they can.
Yeah. I mean, I see I just think that, one of the big draws to me for John Mateer is, clearly he comes in with more experience than Michael Hawkins, the quarterback that you have. I feel like you got to say it all the time. Just because you like John Mateer, and I like John Mateer, doesn't mean that you think that Michael Hawkins suck and doesn't have a chance to be a good quarterback. Yeah. I think both quarterbacks are good. I think I'd still like Michael Hawkins' upside. But we just got to remember how big of a year this is for Brent Venables and the staff, and I think the program at large. So to get a quarterback that has played as much as John Mateer, I know he's only a one-year starter, but he played a lot last year. Here's the point, Parker. I like the immediate, just kind of he rolls in with your new offensive coordinator, and there's really not that learning curve. That's where I think the real value's at here.
And I think it would amount to a true last resort type of deal if you were just moving into 2025 with Michael Hawkins as your unquestioned starting quarterback. And that's no shot at Michael Hawkins. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. I think he already is. But, Tyler, you know what that screams to the fan base? You didn't learn anything from this past season. You didn't learn one to go bring in another quarterback to compete with Hawkins, regardless of what the circumstances were leading up to, at that point, what would have been a bone-dry portal cycle for OU at the quarterback position. If Michael Hawkins was the guy, the unquestioned guy moving into 2025, the fan base would have very little patience for him. He'd have the weight of the world on his shoulders, and moreover, the fans would have very little patience for Brent Venables, because that's exactly what Oklahoma did this past season. They told Jackson Arnold, virtually sight unseen, he had one start, right? Virtually sight unseen, they said, we're entrusting the future of this program to Jackson Arnold. And it didn't pan out. Yeah. And so the fan base's opinion, their collective opinion would have been, you have learned nothing. How could you have watched the 2024 season unfold the way it did, have handed the starting quarterback gig to Jackson Arnold and not held a legit competition, then decided, you know what, we're going to do the whole thing again with our next guy in 2025?
You know what the reality of the situation, too, is do I think John Mateer is going to immediately be a quarterback upgrade from what you had last year all season? I think that he is.
Yes.
And I think that's why you're spending as much money as you are. I think he's an immediate quarterback upgrade. But as good of a player as I think he is, Parker, if the offensive line is not better next year and they're as beat up as they were last year, if the wide receiver play isn't more consistent and there is beat situation that we talked about so much last season, it's going to be hard for anyone to really excel in that offense. So, look, I think John Mateer is an upgrade. I'm excited about him in the system. But, man, OU's got to make sure that they're better on the O-line, in the run game, and at wide receiver as well. They've got to put a good situation around John Mateer for him to excel.
Eric, the Mets fan, says, any tight end prospects, or are we riding Devon Mitchell next year? Well, Eric, the Mets fan, I feel like I know the answer from the majority of people out there listening, but can I interest you in Nate Borkacher from the University of Nebraska? A former walk-on who has, in 5 seasons as a Cornhusker, 19 career catches for 219 yards and 1 touchdown.
Hey, how about that?
On campus as we speak.
That's going to go over super well. A former walk-on in Nebraska
love that
with less
one,
than 20
they?
catches. Oh, hell, nice job, Joe John. Where you get the NIL money for that? The KREF Super Chats? House Money Productions sending in 2 $1.99 Super Chats today? Is that what it is? House Money Productions, I don't know if you and this individual know each other closely, but sending a $4.99 Super Chat and 2 $1.99 Super Chats. So maybe we just – Omaha guy, maybe we just paid for OU's next tight end.
Maybe. As far as I know, I don't know House Money Productions.
We don't want to be Bag U, says House Money Productions. And says, Parker, think like Buffett. That is the route. So,
how do you think like Buffett? Have
Warren or Jimmy?
Have an Egg McMuffin every morning?
Yeah. That's probably it. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's going to go over well. Can you sell me on the – can you make me feel more confident about OU's future at tight ends? Do you have that presentation, that PowerPoint available right now? Because, look, I can get to a place where, all right, like this offense, I can, start to be sold on it a little bit. New OC, John Mateer, Burke's back. I mean, I can get to a spot in a lot of different positions. Tight end is the one, though, where I'm like, all right, I need to be presented with some strong evidence here as to why I need to be confident.
There's no objective reason for confidence with that group right now. It's all speculation. It's all visions of what might be with each of the players that are on scholarship at that position. Trinae Washington could be a player. Cade McIntyre and or Caden Helms could take a leap. Devon Mitchell could tap into the potential that he came to Oklahoma with. Nate Borkacher could be a reliable option as a blocking first tight end who also gives you a little something as a pass catcher as well. But my point is, Tyler, we don't know anything about that room. As it stands right now, when Jake Roberts graduates, Oklahoma is going to bring back a cast of characters next season at the tight end position that has caught a total of 3 passes in an Oklahoma uniform. Caden Helms has 2 catches. Cade McIntyre has 1.
Yeah, that's not great.
Your returning production, at least at Oklahoma, consists of 3 catches.
Well, and look, man, to be fair, if you had a lot of unproven bodies at that position, but you had a coach at that position that you felt like, hey, man, I know that there's not a lot of proven commodities there, but this dude has a pretty incredible history of developing players at that position, then, okay, let's have a conversation. But unfortunately, that is not the case. Super chats are rolling in right now, pal.
Really, are they?
Some cash today, yeah. Lee Bird, $4.99 super chat. What is the amount Oklahoma is willing to put up for John Mateer? I can add $37 and an extra Arby's gift card I have. Amount unknown.
Well, shoot, Lee, it would have been $42 if you hadn't given 5 of them to us, but we appreciate it.
There's a report out that it's $3 million.
It is darn near $3 million.
Yep. Cole Birdwell, $4.99 super chat. Heard from, let's see, Mateer ain't coming. Heard that Mateer ain't coming, says Cole Birdwell.
Oh, no.
Peter Thorne.
Source?
Heard from Peter Thorne that Mateer ain't coming.
Adam from ATX says, I thought Helms hit the portal. No, he did not. He is still here. Puerto Rican Sooner says, can EPL catch a ball and run some routes?
Maybe. I mean, I'm not going to doubt that kid.
Gunny has a suggestion. He says, we could get someone to develop the tight end room.
That's kind of what I was saying, yeah. I mean, I don't feel like that's, necessarily been the case here recently, but hopefully that changes. Boy, if we were to read all these texts, we would be in need of a Joe John Finley positivity.
Yeah, people
hour.
are pissed. Boomer Brock says, why the F does Joe John still have a job? 832 Mike says, you're incorrect, Parker. We know a lot about the tight end room. It sucks and will not change until that joke of a coach is fired or leaves for another job. Holy smokes.
Cherokee Sooner, the only thing I got for you, Tyler, is that Joe John and Bauer Sharp won't be back next year. All right. Final segment of Locked In is coming up next. It's all your fault, Eric the Mets fan. You just had to ask about the tight end situation right now. Eric even responded and said, God, I wish I wouldn't have asked that. That's where we're at. Final segment, Locked In, coming up next. Horns Down Apple Pie Liquor is not your grandma's apple pie unless your grandma was a moonshiner with a PhD in flavor. This all-natural, 6-time distilled spirit is sure to light up any party, tailgate, or special occasion. Whether toasting a touchdown or yelling at the umps because Spike was safe, Horns Down Apple Pie is the perfect drink for celebrating the highs and lows of life in Oklahoma. Horns Down celebrates all of you who cheer from the berm, tailgate, on Lindsay Streak, and wreak havoc on social media. You can find our red bottle at your local liquor store or search for your closest location at drinkhornsdown.com.
Our mission to keep Oklahoma comfortable. Visit normanair.com for all your heating, air, plumbing, and electrical needs. Norman Air, service to the max.
Toyotathon's Christmas special is here. Celebrate this holiday season by saving up to $6,504 on a new 2024 Tundra SR5 CrewMax 4x4. Plus, we cover your taxes as part of this exclusive holiday deal. Make your season merrier with Toyotathon's limited time deals on new Toyota vehicles. Get our exclusive offers on new Tundras through the new year at Fowler Toyota Norman, proud sponsor of OU Athletics.
Come see the nation's top collegiate gymnasts at the Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad on January 10th and 11th at the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. Featuring Oklahoma, LSU, Cal, Utah, and Arkansas, plus 7 other of the nation's top teams. This event cannot be missed, and tickets are on sale now. Visit SproutsCollegiateQuad.com to experience all the gymnastics action.
It's that time of the year again, and our guys just wanted to take some time to wish you the best going into the holiday season.
Hey, Ref Army, it's Plank and Josh, Plank Platoon, baby, 9 to noon every day. Just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Hope you get everything you want on your list.
What a great year it's been talking football, talking sports with all of you. A very Merry Christmas from us to you.
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, Ref Army. Keep up with the Sooners everywhere you go this holiday season with the KREF app, the home of Sooner fans.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Good lighting is an absolute necessity these days, but not all lights are created equal. Did you know that you can reduce the energy consumption of a light fixture by up to 85% by converting to LED? Sounds like a great opportunity, but finding the right LED product isn't always easy. At Wade Electric, they have the knowledge and experience to provide an LED conversion that will save you money and stand the test of time. Whether in your home or office, get the right money-saving LED product the first time and call Wade Electric today at 405-329-1940 to receive a free estimate.
Hey y'all, I'm Kelly Clarkson. Every American dreams of creating a better life for his or her family, but in some communities, those dreams face difficult challenges. When we come together to help those in need get the same opportunities as everyone else, we truly are making our country a better place to live for all of us. So look for volunteer opportunities in your community to help others achieve the American dream, all right? This message is courtesy of the United States Air Force.
Wanting to make a big splash with your holiday gift giving this year? Give your family a Christmas to remember with a pool from Signature Custom Pools. Contact the experts to help you design the perfect escape for your family. Signature Custom Pools offers the highest level of customer service to create your retreat guaranteed to provide memories of a lifetime. Call them for a free consultation today at 405-898-9098 or visit them online at signaturecustompools.com to get the signature touch.
It's been said that when someone you love has Parkinson's, you have Parkinson's.
The Parkinson's Foundation knows that the disease doesn't just affect the diagnosed, it affects everyone who supports and helps care for them.
If you have questions, the Parkinson's Foundation has answers.
We can help you understand the disease
and give you tips for living a better life.
Find your answers at parkinson.org or call 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
Dorsey Jones Buick GMC in El Reno. Ready this hour of Locked In with McComas and Thune. Dorsey Jones is family-owned and operated, established in 2020. Many of their employees have been there for more than 20 years. They sell Buicks and GMCs, which are some of the best trucks and SUVs on the road. That's Dorsey Jones Buick GMC in El Reno. And a reminder, transfer portal updates, good and bad, are brought to you by Deckworks Construction, a Brent Swift company proudly designing and building decks, pergolas, and outdoor living spaces since 1998. Talked about tight end a little bit last segment. Text line got a little crazy there. Did see that Luke McGarry is headed to Houston.
That is correct. He was supposed to arrive to Norman, Oklahoma for his visit last night. Instead, he committed to the Cougars.
Sure, that's gone over. See, that's the problem, too.
Yeah.
It's like when you offer players, you're like, why are we offering this guy? Why?
And don't get him.
And then they go to a school like Houston or what Minnesota or Wisconsin. It's like panic level times two. Outside of John Mateer, who can we expect to be on campus here in the next few days? Jaron Bradley maybe being one wide receiver?
Yes. Keontez Lewis, the transfer wide receiver from Southern Illinois. Devontae Ross, transfer wide receiver from Troy. There are more.
Seems like a busy week.
I can't keep them all straight. Like, I legitimately cannot keep them all straight in my head, Tyler. I cannot. There is too much junk rolling around in there.
Recruiting Boomer says, all right, I'm nervous. Mateer was a no contact entering the portal, and now I guess Miami said screw that. Are we cooked, Parker?
No, John Mateer is going to be a Sooner. Guys, don't sweat this. It's happening.
That on-3 report really, which again, I'll remind in case you didn't hear. The guy that wrote the on-3 reports is the same guy that predicted OU to land John Mateer yesterday. And I don't know if they can change their prediction on 3 or not. I have no idea. But he hasn't really backtracked the thought that Oklahoma is definitely the leader. So, I know it caused some panic earlier this morning, but John Mateer expected to be on campus today.
And look, I'll say this: there is no school that does the "we're getting everybody" type of thing quite like Miami.
God,
I mean,
I saw my mentions this weekend.
They think they're getting everybody.
It really is insane. LOL, only for Broklahoma to not be able to afford the guy and get outbid. Had that one a few times. Lesson Hayes, Kansas. Some Sooner fans are bipolar at times. Yes, but we still love it. We still love you guys. Still love it. I have no doubt John M. is ours, says a texter in the 405. 832 says, a lot of Miami fans seem very excited, and one of their director of player personnel keeps tweeting good news coming. Should we be more concerned about Mateer going to Miami for the bag? Okay. Remember what we always say about the transfer portal as opposed to recruiting?
Yes.
It's always best to have the first visit as opposed to the last visit. That's how it goes in the portal. Oklahoma is the first visit here.
Oklahoma's going to be the only visit.
You know what? I got confidence in the staff. I don't think that's – I don't think that they're going to, forcibly hold him on campus. I don't think OU's going to let him get out of here without making a decision and committing to Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's attitude is we got the healthy offer. We feel good about it. We feel like it's going to happen tonight or tomorrow, whatever. He ain't leaving campus without committing to us.
Ann and Peggy in Midwest City says UCF took Speed D in the portal, hiring Grinch as their DC was a risk.
Saw that, huh? Alex Grinch. How about that OU connection at UCF for the past year? He got big shoes to fill down there at UCF, does he not?
Yes, the
Ted
shoes
Roof.
of Ted Roof and the three-man front. What's with UCF hiring all the Oklahoma retreads?
I don't know, man.
As DCs.
Maybe it's payback for taking Dylan Gabriel a few years ago. Not real sure. Any interest in the Wazoo offensive tackle that's in the portal? Says
Interest,
in the 405.
yes. Interest, yes. Budgetary space, no.
I think anybody would be interested. Anyone would be interested in him. Speaking of offensive lineman, Derek Simmons, he's got some visits coming up this week. I feel like he's got 2 or 3. It seems like Derek Simmons is probably going to take a lot of visits. He's the offensive tackle out of Western Carolina. Anything on where OU might sit for Derek Simmons as he's going to see Colorado, South Carolina, and Georgia Tech coming up soon.
And Alabama, too. I believe he has an Alabama visit set up. There's confidence right now from the OU side that he might not take all of those visits and may be closing in on a decision. So I have to take everything with an additional grain of salt because folks on the OU side have been confident with several players in the last week and a half that wound up going somewhere else. But it does feel like Oklahoma's in a good spot right now for Derek Simmons.
If I could turn the attention just for 1 second away from the transfer portal and into actually what the show talks about the majority of the time, recruiting. 2026 Rivals 250 was released today. Jaden O'Neal, the number 63 overall player in the class, down 9 spots in the most recent Rivals update of 250. Jaden O'Neal, OU's quarterback commit for 2026, 6'2", 208 pounds, 4-star, drops 9 spots down to 63. But don't let that fool you. Jaden O'Neal, a very, very good quarterback prospect.
Anybody else of note in the 250?
I looked today, and I didn't see anybody else OU related in the top 50 there.
Wonder how long it takes Ryder Mix to find his way.
You only got 2 other commits, right? You got 3 commits and 26 currently after yesterday.
Jaden O'Neal, Ryder Mix, Will Conroy. Ryder Mix, that boy good, Tyler.
Well,
he can play.
I think the same is true for Will Conroy. And, again, that's just based off the offers that the kid has. Mm-hmm. And, he had an Ohio State offer. He had an A&M offer. He had an Oregon offer. He had a Michigan offer. The kid's from Cleveland, Ohio. But, the fact that Ohio State offered an in-state kid, that's a pretty good sign if Ohio State is offering the kid. But when you've got that many programs from different areas of the country offering that kid and he's only rated as a 3-star, it would lead me to believe that Will Conroy, 6'3", 275 pounds, is probably going to emerge to 4-star status at some point during the cycle. So that's a very good commit and a very good get for OU. Sounds like Bill Bedenbaugh. I mean, obviously it's going to be his position coach, but he visited Oklahoma for the Tennessee game. Very impressed by the environment. But this guy, a big Bill Bedenbaugh fan and what he's done in the past when it comes to development.
By the way, a good text here from this listener here in the 405. Worth reading. Jeez. Stop the Joe John slander. You don't have to like him or want him as your coach, but the personal attacks have got to stop. They're taking a significant toll on his young family. He's done a lot of incredible things for OU as a player and coach. Give him credit for that.
Hey, I will absolutely 100%. How could you not give Joe John credit for what he did with the offense this year when he took over as the play caller? It was not perfect. It still had its issues. It still had its flaws. But he took over an offense that was damaged when he got it. And I know what everyone will throw back, and that's fine, is that the tight end position is a reason for that, and that's his room, and that's fair. But I don't think that you can really deny how much more competent the offense was when he took over at play calling. Like, he at least deserves some credit for that, if nothing else. They had an identity.
They did. It wasn't great offense, but it was halfway decent, which was a lot better than Oklahoma got throughout the 8 games that Seth Luttrell was the offensive coordinator, dating back to the bowl game last year against Arizona, which actually was his best game as OU's offensive coordinator. Imagine that. Like, imagine Oklahoma loses that game 38-24, turns the ball over 6 times. Jackson Arnold has 3 picks. Imagine if I'd told you at that time, yeah, that will be the best game that Seth Luttrell ever coaches at Oklahoma, and that will be the best game that Jackson Arnold ever plays at Oklahoma.
Crazy. 615 State of Tennessee, is there confidence in the administration that we can get our NIL into the $20+ million annual range? So are they asking about the whole revenue share with the number that we're trying to get to? Is there confidence in the administration? If that's what you're talking about, if OU is going to operate at the highest number, if this revenue share happens, then the answer to that is yes. The answer is they will operate at that number. Do you see the breakdown for Texas Tech, by the way? I think this is the first school to go public with how they're going to kind of split their revenue. Their football is going to get 74% of that, $15.1 million. Men's basketball is going to get 17.5%. Women's basketball is going to get 2%. Baseball is going to get 1.9%, and their other sports will get 4.5%. And it says 90% to football, men's basketball will be standard across the P4. Ross Dellinger reported today. Yeah, I would guess most P4 schools out there going heavy football with this.
And 74% might be on the conservative side if we're generalizing that whole conversation. By the way, we're out of time to conduct a Joe John Finley Positivity Hour. Mm-hmm. Can I interest you in a Joe John Finley Positivity Minute?
Yeah.
1 minute of positivity.
Start the clock now.
Surrounding Joe John Finley. Glenn from Nashville says, agreed on Joe John. He's a Sooner legacy and should not be ridiculed. I've shared this before, but one of my favorite memories of Joe John was watching him play a game when he was at Arlington High School. He was by far the best player on the field that night and was so fun to watch. Captain Willard says, to Joe John haters, do you beat Bama with your old OC? You'd have missed a bowl completely.
Correct.
Brent from Jenks says, I'm not a JJF fan anymore as a tight end coach, but if you're attacking him personally and his family, you're a complete idiot and do not call yourself an OU fan.
Hey. Is that it? You get like 25 more seconds.
Oh, I do have 25 more seconds?
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this. In every interaction I've had with Joe John Finley, really, really nice dude. Phenomenal human being. And he's got a great family as well. He's got a wife, 4 young children. They're great people. And, yes, again, even if you don't like him as a tight ends coach, you think he ought to pack his bags for Purdue or wherever, it is worth acknowledging that he's done good work as the offensive coordinator, the interim offensive coordinator this year, and that he is a Sooner through and through.
This text says, I guess JJF is all right. That's a perfect way to end our Joe John Finley Positivity Minutes. I love that. How about Jaron Canick on Twitter right now?
Oh, he's on a heater, man.
Dude. It's not just like, oh, yeah, he had a funny tweet the other day. He's He's working it right now, man. I'm enjoying that.
He has fully stepped into Danny Stutzman's shoes as the personality of the defense.
I mean, he's taken out. I mean, it's seamless transition there for Jaren Kanak. I mean, it's like every single day we get a good one. I'm really, really impressed. Joe John Finley, 5-star human, says a 970 texter. Peyton says Joe John rips massive dips. So I guess that would be a compliment there. All right, that'll do it for Locked In. The Rush coming up next. We got more transfer portal coming up for you right here on The Ref.